Prime Minister knows fully what's happening. He knows what the Department of Telecom is saying. He knows what the Finance Secretary is saying. He knows what the TRAI is saying.
Does the Prime Minister know I'm talking to you? I'm his minister. Does he know that I'm talking to you tonight? He may watch on television and find that Salman has talked to you. And then you're going to say, oh, Prime Minister doesn't know that his ministers are talking to you? The Prime Minister knows that I have a job to do, and my job is law, and my job is minority affairs. Part of the job is that I will talk to the media periodically to tell the media exactly what we are doing. But the Prime Minister will not get detailed account of what I have said or what I am doing and who all I am meeting throughout the day. The Prime Minister is not going to get an account of this.
But when two ministers write to the minister, and let me quote to you from two specific letters, Minister. On the 26th of December 2007, A. Raja wrote a letter to Manmohan Singh in which he says, I have consulted with External Affairs Minister Pranab Mukherjee and the Solicitor General, and they have advised me that as a preemptive and proactive measure, I can go ahead with the allocation of 2G spectrum immediately. This is from the Telecom Minister. I also want to quote to you what Pranab Mukherjee wrote to the Prime Minister that exact day, and it says that it is essential for the Department of Telecom to issue norms so that spectrum allotment would be as transparent as possible. These are poles apart.
No.
The two are completely different.
What's wrong with that?
He's talking about there being transparency and a need to ensure that you get the best valuations. A. Raja says something completely different. You've got two ministers.
Show me how. Show me how. Why do we need a cabinet at all if two ministers can't think differently? Why do we need a GOM if the cabinet itself can't think differently?
But is it not very clear from this that there was a difference of opinion between the External Affairs Minister who was looking at this case and the Telecom Minister?
No, where am I saying there were no differences?
So if there is a difference, why did it not go to the EGM? Why was A. Raja allowed to push through the licenses?
Nobody is allowed to push through anything. But EGOM does not take everything. EGOM takes certain things that the cabinet and the Prime Minister feel should go to EGOM. Now you can't insist on terms of EGOM. The government has to decide. Government has to decide, and before the terms are given, some minister might have a view that you give greater terms. Some minister may have a view that you get lesser terms.
Just days before Telecom was allocated, the Prime Minister had a situation where two of his ministers were saying opposite things. Why did he not step in, either take an executive decision himself, prevent A. Raja from going ahead with the sale of spectrum, or refer this to an EGOM?
See, none of these things, please understand, that nobody is complaining about sale of spectrum. Nobody. It may be some PIL people must be complaining. Nobody in government is complaining about sale of spectrum at all. Nobody is complaining about first come, first serve. Nobody is complaining about policy that we made. The issue that we have to face, unfortunately, very sadly, is an issue about how first come, first serve policy was implemented. Implementation is done by the ministry, not by the cabinet. Decision of policy is taken by cabinet. The decision of policy taken by cabinet, we stand by. Implementation is today a matter which is to be decided by court.
On the 28th of August 2007, the TRAI recommended that spectrum should be given at market prices, and the ideal mechanism would be through auctions. This was rejected by A. Raja's ministry. It went to H.R. Bhartawaj, the then law minister, who recommended that allocation of spectrum should go to the EGOM. A. Raja dismissed this as being out of context. The question is, when there is such a big disagreement in the government, why didn't the Prime Minister step in?
Which spectrum are you talking about? Do you know?
2G spectrum, sir.
2G spectrum?
Yes.
What is 2G spectrum? Let me just
tell you what
2G spectrum is. There are 122 licenses. Each license has an entry spectrum, 4.4 or 6.2. That's an entry spectrum that comes with the cost of the license. Anything that you need beyond that, you have to get from the market. You have to get at the market rate. So please understand that spectrum, when you say spectrum, it is not the be all and the end all.